Oh, back. This lady's a medical doctor. In deep trouble. She'll be fine. So, protocols. What do we do when we wake up to a problem? We start to get it. Now, lymph system's down. I'm not filtering. I need to hydrate. I need to change my diet. I need to get into the fruits because fruits are astringent and fast hydrators. They don't create excessive digestive energy, so you have a lot more energy to heal and repair, and full of flavonoids, which are major healers. So that's essential. Now let's look at protocols. How simple protocols are. All right? Look at the human form. All this, think of the body as a food processing plant. And so you have what's called the GI tract. Basically, GI is gastro, but actually from mouth to anus. You start digesting immediately in the mouth your carbohydrates. You don't have no digestion of proteins in your mouth whatsoever. Your protein don't start breaking down to hit the stomach and acid. And this is why mono eating is important. Because when you mix a protein with a starch or a carbohydrate is a base chemistry digestive experience, and a protein is an initial acid hit. You mix an acid with a base and it neutralizes each other. That's ionization. That's this whole movement of chemistry and electrons and all of this stuff. It's how life breathes here, magnetically and chemically. It's moving through those two poles, whether you call it ionization in chemistry or magnetism in electronics. Who cares? So, looking at the human form, we know that the lymphatic system has the skin involved and the kidneys involved. All right, so the kidneys. Let's look at the kidneys for a minute. You got one kidney on each side. Some of you have 3 kidneys, some of you only have 1. And never give up your kidney to someone. That is the biggest mistake you could ever give. Allow people to repair and fix their kidney. Medical have gotten people so dumbed down. Yeah, let's just take some of your kidney, Mom, and put it into your son. This is one lady called me one time. I said, "You're nuts. It's the same genetic tree. You don't give a genetic weak kidney to a genetic weak kidney." I mean, the awareness is not much there. This is ridiculous. And you can rebuild kidneys. You can rebuild your kidneys. I don't care what stage you're in. You can rebuild those kidneys. Most people don't filter at all anyway. Most people have kidney problems anyway. How do you tell? Look at the bags, the dark circles under the eyes, lower back. Swelling, redness, skin conditions, you name it. So, kidneys, adrenal glands control the kidneys and a whole bunch more. Okay, and look at the skin. The skin is controlled more by the thyroid gland. Body temperature. So, when we look at the lymphatic system, we can say lymph fluid, lymph vessels, lymph nodes, kidney, skin, adrenal glands, and thyroid glands. Glands. One on each side. You're bilateral beings sharing a common gut and heart. And digestive organs, stuff like that, of course. But you have 2 independent sides to yourself. Interesting, huh? So, obviously, your first thought is to go after that lymphatic system if you have tumors, if you're in pain, if you have fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme, doesn't matter. They blame it all on microbes. And here's one thing you must learn. All the medical doctors have to stand on is microbes, pathogens, or autoimmune. And recommending the very diet that's causing the people to have these problems. And that is what this planet has to wake up to. Because if it don't, a lot of humans are going down. I mean really going down fast. You have someone walk into your office and you put them on, and naturopaths are getting stupid too. You're coming in and you have clients in pain, tumors, and you put them on high protein diets. You're killing your people. You're not being a healer, you're killing your people. That's how they got there in the first place. You have to look at what you bring in chemistry. You can't ignore that. If you sit at life, and we just did this on Hillary's video, cause and effect, that rules creation. And you have to learn this. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. Jesus just said you reap what you sow. Buddha had it real quick. Karma, baby. All the same stuff. And very, very real. So, you have to learn that. You have to learn that your actions are creating what you're experiencing. A lot of people blame everything external to them. You're the creator of your own world, I hate to say it. Now, so your number one focus in botanicals are going to be kidneys, adrenal glands. You're going to make sure the skin is covered and the thyroid is covered, right? Yes. All right, so in herbal formulas, we're going to make sure you're on a kidney formula. Well, you know what? We learned that the people's kidneys are so bad, we put 2 kidney formulas in there. We always look at our basic kit. If you look at our basic detox kit, our for number 1 and 2 weeks, you'll see our focus. Now, the focus in that kit are the kidneys, the lymphatic system itself, the endocrine glands, which is the adrenals, the thyroid, the pituitary, all the endos. We're after the liver gallbladder, which the same herbs for the liver gallbladder are for the skin. So we're going into your digestive systems, and we're also going after the skin simultaneously. How beautiful. Thank you. So, and we also go after deworming, defungals. Not debacterial. You don't want to kill bacterium. You have put yourself in hellville by doing that. You have to have bacteria. It's how we get vitamins. So it's essential that you keep your bacterium in your body. And you will reculture bacterium depending upon the very nature of your culturing medium, as we call it. Or your terrain, as one guy wrote in a book. Your inner terrain. All right. That's essential. Or you ain't getting anywhere well, Bill. You can't just go on a diet and think you're going to get well today, because we are advanced in our weaknesses genetically. We need those food sources that were set up to deal with these genetic weaknesses, and there's only one of them. We call them herbs, botanicals. And vegetables is a part of that. When you're eating vegetables, you're eating herbs, guys. It's just part of the kingdom. All berries, all fruit, all vegetables are here individually for a specific purpose. Each has their own individual consciousness and their own individuality of why they are present. So you want to use herbs to get in here and get things going. You got the diet. The diet then will start astringing, hydrating. Everything that's locked hard becomes soft and pliable again. You start going from being hard and locked and twisted and curved to opening up it like a flower. I don't care how advanced in a wheelchair you are. You get 100% raw and 100% fruits, berries, and melons, and you will watch your body unfold. Especially when you're going after those tissues that are down in your body. All right? So, what other system do you want to go after? The digestive system. Because I want you to remember these 4 things. Digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. These are the 4 phases that the human body must go through to be well. So we look at digestion. Gallbladder, pancreas. The pancreas is your main digestive organ, including the pancreatic duct. So these all have to be healthy. All right? Liver, gallbladder, pancreas. All right? Well, you're going through the canal, the tree trunk. You know, these are just branches off the tree. Your liver, gallbladder, your pancreas, branches off the tree, this trunk of the tree, which is the GI tract. Man's GI tract is so bad that I knew a surgeon back in the early 70s that only saw 1 healthy colon, and that was in a 4-year-old dissection at Harvard, he told me. And that's back in the early 70s. So we are serious. And of course, this has always been the number 1 place for cancers for generations. Now I think it's long, but it has always been GI tract cancers. And that's because this is a food processor and not meant to process proteins and dairy foods from other animals. No way. These type of proteins are foreign and very, very mucus forming. Any of you guys on milk and dairy products, there's no way you don't have sinus or any type of congestion, bronchial or lungs, because that's extremely, the dairy proteins are the worst in terms of mucosic responses. So you have to take herbs to go after that gut. Some people are constipated. Some people have constipation. But the biggest problem man faces is malabsorption. So whether you have IBS, Crohn's, I don't care what you call it, and how bad and how thick your wall is. Because you've seen videos from our dear one who had ulcerative colitis, who died how many times? To show you that no matter how bad you are, and she was at the worst, you can pull yourself back. But you must get with you, and you be the one to pull yourself back. Don't rely on anybody, including us. You want to know what you're doing. You want to know what the systems are down. You want to know because you're the entity. You're the one that should be controlling your world. So you want to power up. Get your power back. Your strength back as an individual. Don't take the crap that you're taking if you're in that sort of situation. If you're a female, don't be afraid of the male. Power up. Get your feminine. You're the beautiful side of life. You're the love side of life. And this planet needs the feminine principle to come out of being suppressed by the male principle. That is the base chemistry that's so vital to this planet. This planet is becoming extremely acidic. Look at all this big thing about pollution and in the environment, right? What side of chemistry are they talking about? The air is getting acidic. Why? Look at all the car exhausts. Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. These are all high acidic gases. And our body produces a lot of them too. You'll watch, you'll see gases emanate from your skin. So really what the world is of dis-ease is constipation interstitially, and hopefully not intracellularly inside the cell, because you don't move your acids out of the cell, you'll destroy your cell, and that's called cancer cells, or in the old days we called it degenerative or atrophied cells. They just use the word cancer to scare you and think you've got something that no one can cure and you've got to follow them, that kind of crap. And what they do is send you worse to hellville at a speedily pace. You can't treat something that you're creating inside of the body and building up acids. You can't treat that with pharmaceuticals to suppress acids. That's what kills you. Can't do that. So a good detox program, again, is going to start with that first kit. You're going after your kidneys. You're going after your endocrine glands, pituitary, thyroids, parathyroids. Now that's a very mild formula. Very mild. That's why you see us picking up glandulars. It goes after the adrenal glands, things like this, but it's a mild formula. But it's enough to pick things up temporarily, because you need the next round, you need to kick up the pace. This is just a, hello, let me get things started. There's only one lymphatic formula in that kit. And that's because people are so agglomerated that when you start trying to move lymph too aggressively in kidneys that are closed, tumors can grow, pain can come in, things like this, because you're pulling acids to a totally dormant area, and so it's just all acidic even more. It exacerbates acidosis, like chemotherapy on cancer. That's acid on top of acid thinking. That'll take you into hellville and either back again or into another world. So we always go after the GI tract. Remember, stomach and bowel formula. So we have stomach and bowel 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 is for people that have diarrhea and want to firm up. Number 1 is for people that I just want to get in and pull out, clean the mucosa, get all this sulfur and stuff off the wall, start enhancing the function of. Number 1. And you're moving every day okay? Number 1. Number 2 has a pinch of my favorite Cascara Sagrada. And someone tells you that's a bad one, they're not herbalists. They don't know what it is. They never worked in clinical settings. Let me tell you, worked 40 years with herbs. But the little bit of Cascara Sagrada gives you a little hepatic and pancreatic bump, but it's gentle and non-addictive. You get into the sennas, the buckthorns, the turkey rhubarbs, now you're into purgatives. Now you're into addictive herbs. The Cape aloes, stuff like this. I only have a minor bit of that in my number 5. Because you got Crohn's, you got things so bad where you only have spaces this big for stool to get through. So, I mean, it's, people got themselves in serious trouble. So you have all these different levels of bowel formulas, depending upon your ability to move or not move, or move too much. You'll see also multiple kidney formulas and multiple lymphatic and lymph node formulas. And the reason for that is I like to shake it up a little bit, not get the body used to different herbal formulas, and shake it up a little bit. Some people have better luck on one formula over another. Everybody's different in consciousness and everything else, so it helps to shake up the tree a little bit. So let's break out of kit number weeks 1 and 2, and let's go into weeks 3 and 4 and on, okay? So let's take a condition. So you're going to follow that same rhythm of going after the kidneys, but this time you're going to add the adrenal glands specifically. Now, if you have real low blood pressure and you're fatigued all the time, and I will say this, you guys with high blood pressure is really low blood pressure. As soon as you start fixing your kidneys, your high blood pressure is going to walk right on down and go into low blood pressure. The question is how low, and remember the top number, systolic, is your adrenal glands. And that's a big deal because that's neurotransmitters that the adrenal glands produces for your autonomic nervous system, which runs everything, including the kidneys. Your autonomic nervous system runs all your organs and glands. And they're instructed through the parasympathetic at the back of the head at the cerebellum. And all that comes together in your stomach and solar plexus. So your nerve ganglia here is right in your solar plexus. Anybody ever hit you here? So there's a major nerve brain here, nerve center, and that's the autonomic nerve center. This is the central nerve center. You have 2 nervous systems in the human body. Let's say you have MS, Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's, things like this. So you have brain lesions. So let's think about that one for a minute. What system has to be down? Noting that all the brain is a bunch of nerve cells and with a blood flow and a lymph flow. Which system is down? The lymphatic system. Swelling, glaucoma, lymphatic pressure, rosacea, you name it. Headaches, this is all lymphatics. But up here you have the precious pituitary and your spiritual and rest gland of pineal. All right? So let's say that I'm looking at an MS case, or one that the medical doctor diagnosed with that. I know immediately that the autonomic is the big one. They might have brain lesions. And brain lesions is when acids are building up, and it doesn't have to be brain, it can be liver, it can be anywhere. When acids build up interstitial, the word interstitial, remember, is around cells. Cells stand alone, but are next to each other when an organ or gland, creating that organ or gland, held together by connective tissue. Now, the spaces between them is how we get to them, through the blood and through the lymph. We have to. You have to feed and clean all manufacturing entities. And each cell is a manufacturing entity, a processor even. So there's always acidic byproducts that must be dealt with. You want to take, if an MS, you're thinking about your nervous system's down. That's the adrenal glands. Every neurological case has weak adrenal glands. Low blood pressures. If it's high, that's only masking the problem. You'll see it low. Fatigue, chronicness, that's your adrenal glands. I'm tired. Neurotransmitters. Your blood pressure is 100 over, 90 over. The lower the systolic, the top number is, the more you're like this. You can't poop well, you can't think well. That's the autonomic, low neurotransmitters. And we are at the chronic level of adrenal gland weaknesses today. Serious. Our kids are born with neurological problems. One vaccine shot and they're going into ADD, ADHD, or seizures. That's how weak their nervous systems are. And this is way beyond their level of thinking. So they don't know. They just constantly go, here, we'll vaccinate your little baby with 20, 30 vaccines. These guys need to spend some time understanding truth and not killing our kids. It's insane what's going on in this planet. I tell you, this is why a lot of us are here helping. Because man has to wake up a little bit here. We're getting, anyway. So, you want to go after the kidneys always. You want to go after your adrenal glands always. So, even from the first kit, you can add a glandular. A glandular is simply a tissue, mostly bovine, which is a cow. We get ours from New Zealand, which have humane laws, but remember, in creation, nothing is killed or dies. You have to understand how things are made here and what consciousness is and where the reality is. Get that, and then you will lose that part of that. So remember, you're always going after the adrenal glands, and the glandulars are desiccated tissue. They're not cooked, they're desiccated, dehydrated, so to speak. So that is raw tissue without hormones or steroids. So understanding acidosis, the first thing you're doing is moving into an alkaline-forming diet. You're addressing the great lymphatic system, which now has become stagnant, and acids are just blowing back and burning you like not changing that diaper on the baby, except this is all inside of you, and your organs and glands are burning up. Extended years of this is what people are. Fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme's, all this is extended systemic acidosis. It doesn't matter what factors. All arthritises are of the same mix. These are all of the same stuff. Different locations, different places, but systemic in nature. Then you get into the local ones. This is what makes medical doctors scratch their heads, because you have how many places in the human body to have symptomology? Oh, that's the Morse syndrome there. Yeah, they have problems with that. Yeah, when you have those symptoms, that's a Morse syndrome. Don't know how to fix it, but we'll call those symptoms Morse syndrome. That's the sort of thing that's going on out here. And what it does, it only confuses them more, creates more demand on their intellectualism, which locks them away from spirituality, and creates confusion within the populace, when the cause is always the same. Take a look at what you're bringing up here. Remember that, what, fork over knives or something like that? Take a look at what you're bringing into you chemistry-wise. And fortunately, the average person doesn't understand that a piece of meat, that's healthy, right? Yeah, piece of dead tissue. How about the milks of someone that's been pasteurized, even raw milks, after age 1? Especially a cow's milk on humans, where we talked a lot about the chemistry comparisons of human mother's milk to goat and cow milks in terms of lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates, hugely different. So, your protocol, your herbal protocol, might want to have a couple of glandulars initially. You want to go after your adrenal glands. So I generally do, if you're real low, I put a 400 milligram glandular, a kit 1 and 2. Next, after those 2 weeks, I generally break you out into a month programs, month at a time. And so then after the 2 weeks, I got you into full bore detox. I've done Parasite G, and if you don't see any worms, flukes, or anything like that, I keep with Parasite M for the fungus in the people. But then I'm on to 2 kidney formulas, 2 lymphatic formulas. I'm going. Because some of you, like this lady that's in there with Attila right now, she has nowhere to go. She's got it all through it. If she doesn't address that system, she's done. You know, and that's a sad thing, because you can address that system and get your wellness and get everything done and still be here, finish out your karma, and by then you have learned all kinds of neat things, and you're free. Now, you'll see lymphatic and lymph node. Really, I just shook it up, because there's so many great lymphatic herbs on this planet, and herbs for the lymph nodes. I just shook it up into 2 different things. 1 tincture, 1 capsule. Notice I'm going back. There's so much malabsorption. What is malabsorption? When you're digesting your foods, what do you have to do next? You have to get the goodies inside. You have to absorb through that mucosa, through the bowel wall, into either the blood or lymphatic capillaries, correct? Like your fatty acids are not absorbed into the blood capillaries, are they? No, lymphatic capillaries. Thank you. Remember, think about the blood. It is alkaline. You cannot stress it or make it acidic, or death is imminent. And if you can't bring in alkaline chemistry, you're gone. At least from this place. So it's enough to say your focus should be appropriate. So you're going after the GI tract again, right? You're going to keep going, because you want to go for 6 months to a year easy. Whatever your affordability is with the herbs, you can play with that. But you want to seriously think about regeneration and detoxification, at least for 6 months to a year, if not longer. Yeah. Most of your tumors and stuff should be out of you within 6 months. Somebody said I said 3 or 4 months, but let me tell you, some people do get rid of tumors in 3 or 4 months. There was a lady that had 4 places. She got rid of all of them but one place. But that's not the norm. Some of you guys can work a year or more getting out tumors and stuff. Don't get upset. Every one of us is different in our kidney function, in our level of genetics in the cells, and also the degree of lymphatic stagnation. Don't get upset. This is into this situation for your learning lessons. Turn it around, gain control again, and learn what's causing this and get rid of it. Power it up. And that's what I'm offering you, is to learn how to get well and then learn how to free yourself from your earthly chains. And then you'll have a real good time.